Shabbat Shalom.
Hey, I didn't know you were coming.
I was
I'm
ready
sorry
with
you left without you.
No, I have to go after this.
That's okay. We're all here. So I like to do a little bit of explanation for the elements that are different each time we do this each month. So that way I don't have to interrupt the flow and do the talky bit during the middle of the meditation, which I find takes me right out of it, and I would assume others as well. So this week's Torah portion of Acharei Mot deals a lot with dam, with blood. And it's a squishy, squeamish topic for many people, not just from the sacrifices, but also from the kashrut rules of removing blood from an animal before we would eat from it. And the text says that in the blood is the life, that the nefesh is in the dam, which is very confusing and must have been absolutely perplexing to our ancestors who had no ideas of modern biology, of what in the world that could possibly mean. How can you say the blood is in the life is in the blood? And yet they would have recognized the fact that a body can be in perfect working order, and when the blood stops, the body will stop very shortly thereafter. And so they must have been able to comprehend something of what God was trying to get at, even if they lacked the scientific understanding that we now have, which is that blood is essential for bringing and distributing all of the nutrients and all of the oxygen, essentially all of the energy that every single part of our body needs, and equally important for removing all of the waste from each part of our body and allowing it to leave the body through all of the different various systems our body has, from our breath to our sweat to everything else. And that without blood, indeed, we would come to a stop. We need that interflow, that exchange of energy, if you will, and that is something we'll talk about, we'll meditate on more as we get further into this morning. So I'm not going to go into that in any more detail. Instead, we're going to go ahead and begin. But if you would like, during the preliminary parts of this section, to just be a little bit more mindful of the flow within us, that flow of energy, our blood flow. You're welcome, while you're sitting comfortably, if it is comfortable for you, to keep the two fingers on the pulse and feel it there. Sometimes it's useful as a meditative technique to try and synchronize your breathing with the pulse, meaning by counting a certain number of beats for each part of our breath. Not necessary, but it is a way and to feel that constant energy activity within ourselves, which is there with us from the moment we are born until the moment we leave. It is the most constant part of our life, even more constant than our breath, for we breathe far fewer times than we actually have the heartbeat. It's the only muscle in the body that never gets tired. So, do make sure that you are seated comfortably, that you are just taking stock of how your body rests in this space. Perhaps begin to notice that your feet are just comfortably placed against the floor, adjusted so there's no stress or strain. And then up through your legs, being supported by the bottom of the chair, and your back not having to work or carry a load, as it is supported by the back of the chair as well. This allows the body to sit and to be as it is meant to be, a tower from which everything else is suspended in perfect balance and harmony, no strain and no pressure. Allowing ourselves to breathe at ease and restfully, recognizing that oftentimes we are hunched or bunched or rushed, and our breath and our pulse both quicken. And our breath in particular can be often very shallow during the week. But on Shabbat we seek that extra nefesh, that additional soul, that extra layer of our breath deep within us. Allowing ourselves to be filled completely with each intake, and allowing ourselves to be emptied completely with each exhale. Each morning we awaken to this gift of life, It is often the first thing that we become aware of, even before our eyes have opened. That there is this breath within us, this beautiful soul that awakens us to consciousness, awareness, and a recognition of having been created as an element of this universe. And having been created by the perfect Creator, recognizing that our creation is perfect. That our soul is pure. We say, Elohai neshama shenatata bi. My God, the soul that you placed in me, tehorahi, it is pure. Elohai, Elohai, neshama, neshama, shenatata bi, shenatata bi, tehorahi, tehorahi. Elohai, Elohai, neshama, neshama, shenatata bi, shenatata bi, tehorahi, tehorahi. Oh my God, oh my God, the soul that you placed in me, that you placed in me, it is pure, it is pure. Elohai, oh my God, the soul neshama, shenatata bi, that you placed in me, it is pure, tehorahi. Elohai, Elohai, neshama, neshama, shenatata bi, shenatata bi, tehorahi, tehorahi. If you have been noticing your pulse through this initial stage, you'll notice that as we breathe more deeply, allow ourselves to sing, forcing ourselves to breathe more deeply, that our pulse will begin to slow. When we allow ourselves to draw in from this world completely, our heart does not have to work as hard. It has more energy with which to distribute to the body and can do so more efficiently, more perfectly. It is only when we cut ourselves off from that rhythm and flow of this world that our heart must strain, that it must ache, that it must do the job under such greater stress. And so we try to reach out, having connected ourselves to God, to connect to all that was created by God. As we say, Baruch She'amar, we remind ourselves that blessed is the one, V'haya ha'olam. Baruch She'amar, blessed is the one that spoke, V'haya ha'olam, and the world came to be. Baruch Hu, blessed is that one. When we breathe in anticipation of creation, preparing for that utterance of creation, we say Baruch She'amar. Then we hold it with the fullness of the world as we think, Hayah Olam, the world came to be with that utterance. And then, in reciprocity to God's creation, we allow our breath to leave with a blessing. Baruch Hu. Blessed is that one. And then, secure in the blessing and the cycle that will continue, we pause momentarily, allowing ourselves to be empty, to be without strain or stress. And then the cycle continues. Baruch She'amar. Hayah Olam. Baruch Hu. 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 As you continue to breathe at your own pace, strive to bring each of the four parts of the cycle of your breath into harmony. We may feel more desperate for that first breath, but it does not serve us well to dwell longer on it than the time that we spend allowing it to be infused within us, for our body to take that energy and spread it through the blood. We may wish to hold on to that as long as possible, but what we have taken in that first run must be released. It must be allowed to flow out, not only to make room for the new breath that will come, but also to take with it all that our body needs to leave behind, all that we have used that needs to be returned to the world, no longer of use to us, no longer helping us. And that precious moment of stillness between breaths, neither inhale nor exhale, not fullness, but also not emptiness. For during that time when the breath has left and the next has not begun, we are not truly empty. Our body continues to swirl with the energy that is in us, allowing ourselves to savor it without panic or strain. And then the cycle begins again. Baruch She'amar. It's only when we allow ourselves to feel this rhythm, this harmonious flow, that we can recognize that everything that we need comes from another part of God's creation, and everything that the creation needs comes from us, that we are all in turn linked together. In the cycle of inhale and exhale, this world joins together in harmony and symphony, in joyous chorus and celebration, saying hallelujah, give praise to God. Indeed, kol hanishama, that everything that breathes, to hallelujah, give praise to Yah, to Adonai, in the breathless name of God. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, kol haneshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, kol haneshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Only by joining our chorus, our voice, to the sound of the world around us, can we truly break free of the trap of idolatry, the trap which tells us to worship, to yearn for, to selfishly guard and greedily grasp at that which sustains us directly, taking, holding that which feels most immediately to be in our need. But when we see that we sing along with all that we need, and we see that our song joins that of the world, of the trees, of the ground, of the mountain and sky, of the sun, moon, and stars, we recognize they too sing a song to their Creator, and we do not turn to them. We do not turn to anything that is created, but we turn only to the single source, that which is truly echad, truly one. We turn to the God of all, the God that is all, the God that is the reason for all. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu 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 Adonai Elo As we allow ourselves to sit in that stillness, the quiet, we recognize quiet or noise, peace or siren's wail, it is all one. We here, those there, it is all one. What our body needs comes from them. What they need comes from us. The unity of the world allows us to see that the flow of energy within us does not begin and end at our mouth and nose. It does not begin and end at the barrier of our skin, of our flesh. That everlasting flow of Dham, the blood within us, truly is the reminder of our nefesh, of our soul. For it is a link to all that is outside of us, allowing it to be absorbed and brought into us. It is a link that allows all that is within us that needs to be removed, that has served its time, its purpose, that has been fulfilling, but now is but a blockage, that can be released and allowed to enter back into the world. If you will, with me, imagine a single point of energy flowing into yourself. Feel it come into your throat, down into the lungs as it branches out into all of the different branches. Smaller and smaller the energy flows until it touches a tiny wall, but 1 cell thick. And there on the other side, there are the tiny drops of energy within us, flowing forever. Each one gently takes a piece of that energy that flowed into us, and then each flow out, together at first in a large rush, a huge river of energy being taken and distributed. But like the air that came in, like the energy that first entered, this flow begins to branch, to move up and outwards, part going to the heart to sustain it in all that it does, and part beginning to distribute, branching off to our arms, allowing the energy to flow down, deeper and deeper through the muscles, through all of our tissue. That energy is now permeating into us. Other branches move down through the core of our body, feeding all of our organs, all of what holds us up, all of what allows us to digest and take into the blood in other ways, and down into the trunks of our legs, providing the energy they need to hold us, to carry us, to sustain us. But on each of these branches, there are no dead ends. There are no points of termination. For as the blood goes and flows, as it deposits at each of the tiny capillary points the energy that it has carried on the journey through our body, it also absorbs. It takes. It allows each of those points within us to expel, to hand over, to release, to lay down the burden of whatever is there, whatever has been left as residue from the energy that has been consumed within us, of no use to us, of no use to us. If we were to keep it, it would soon overwhelm us, pollute us, weigh us down. So even as that precious drop of Dham releases the point of energy to each, it also collects that ash and moves it away through the body, through all of the different miraculous places that God has allowed it to be sifted, to allow it to be removed through our skin, through our liquids, and that which is most left over, even through the air that we exhale, allowing it a waste to us to go back into the world to be a blessing to it. Each drop continues this journey over and over for every moment of our life. And so too within the depths of our soul, mimicked in this mechanics of our blood, so too we often have to remember to take in those new points of energy, to allow ourselves to be open to the flow. To be open is to be vulnerable. To be open is to allow ourselves to have this opportunity. But to be open also means that we can release, that we can allow that which continues to burden us, our regrets, our bitterness, our tiredness, our anger, our fears, all of the residue from moments of life, some precious, some painful, but all that has served its purpose needs to be relinquished out through the soul, back into the world, allowing it to do good elsewhere. It will do us no good to hold on to the ash of the past. We must allow it to be released. The cycle of the Dam, the cycle of the Nefesh, is a deep secret within the ritual of Yom Kippur, the ritual of this parasha of Acharimot, that we see that indeed at least once a year the whole community together must recognize the need to release, to allow that which has accrued and that which weighs us down to be lifted out, sprinkled and scattered, sent into the wilderness, no longer to burden us, to feel that lightness of Yom Kippur, to feel that unburdening that comes. The greatest gift God gave us, to teach us that that neshama, that soul which was placed within us that is pure, remains pure. That once the energy has come in, for good or ill as we have used it, we can always but shake and allow it to return to the world, and our soul remains forever pure. This gift allows us to be sustained in times of happiness and joy, elevating us, in times of need, in times of worry, to give us hope, to give us strength, in times of stress, in times of anxiousness, to give us peace. But only if we allow that to flow. If we close ourselves off, we not only shackle ourselves to our past, which must be let go, we also close ourselves off to the energy that can come in to replace it. Allow the flow to continue. Feel that gift that happens each moment, and realize it is not only the body that is sustained, it is the nefesh as well. It is our neshama that is there in the Dam. Now you're breathing to return to a normal pace. Your body may have become a little stiff if you were not moving it, which is perfectly fine, but don't leap to your feet.